Hi, this is a message to the people who call themselves, hello, woke or liberal, progressive, all these names for a modern cult. It's in America, it's in Europe, and effectively they've bought into a whole bunch of Russian disinformation. Russian disinformation has literally given them the textbook, the Bible that they use. It's hatred for themselves, basically, their own countries. It's hatred for capitalism. That was a big thing of Russia because it was started by Karl Marx, who hated capitalist money, even though he didn't work a day in his life. It was anti-Semitism because the Russians were filled with anti-Semitism. It was anti-religion because Karl Marx was an atheist and he was the god of their movement. But unlike most countries that engage in war, the majority, and this is based on the spies that have come to the West, given their life to tell the story, primarily Ian Pacipa, who wrote a book, Disinformation. Disinformation is the greatest authoritative book written by the highest ranking Soviet general, the head of the KGB of Romania that defected. Effectively, his book, I think it's called Red Dragon or something, brought down the entire government of Romania. And he said clearly the majority of Russian military is not engaged in physical wars, they're engaged in a mind war. And so I met a young man, a boy formerly from Russia, who became religious, and I asked him why. I said, well, I saw the video of spies that defected in 1970, and they said that everything, all these ideas, even the pro-gay movement was also Russian disinformation because it's a way of, like judo, destroying a country from within. And in conclusion, this is a historic opportunity. Even the stupid EU that was supporting certainly the evil Obama-influenced Democratic Party, whenever, if this was under Obama, after Hamas sent rockets into Israel, he would send them $50 million, 30, you can fact check that. So these stupid governments, instead of looking at all of history that Muslims, at least we call them radical, they're not really radical, they're basically following the religion that says that any country that is not Islamic, they have to destroy that country. That's why they fight against secular Islamic countries, because unless it's following Sharia law, the Islamic law as dictated by Islam, that country is designated to war. And they become worse and worse, more savage and savage, more evil and evil in their belief of what to do. They're pure evil. And instead of allowing them into the countries, instead of giving them money, instead of bowing one's head to the enemy that wishes to chop it off, you need to literally not do what Chamberlain, not do what Europe did, not do what America did. Let Hitler kill altogether 50 million people before you wake up. Because the tendency of fools is not to deal with reality. The Jewish sages say, who is wise? Whoever sees what's coming. If you're an animal, all animals have a sense of danger. But you're living a delusion. You're living a fantasy. You're living a reality in which you wish to love your enemy and give him everything because you're too afraid or weak to chop off his head. And what you're doing is you're letting him chop it off first. And the best example of this is cancer. If you don't identify cancer and kill it, it will kill you. And there's a cancer in the world. It's called Islam. It's called, if we want to call it radical Islam, or the versions of Islam that believe in the murder of everyone else, including fellow Muslims. I spoke to a Muslim guy, deeply religious, good man from Pakistan. We don't even know how much terror these people put upon their own people. It is a cult of violence, and the most heinous violence. Obama let that cult happen. He let ISIS come. They were gang raping women maybe 30 times a day, sick people. And in 100 days, President Trump, who you all think is so evil, wiped out that evil. He destroyed ISIS in 100 days. He saved those women. So whereas you think that you stand up for the rights of women, you don't. All you do is you cower to fear. You cower to the people that kill, that rape, that murder. That's what you are. You're cowards. You're a bunch of cowards. But your enemy isn't cowardly. Your enemy is weak, but is gaining strength because they're in your countries. As we see in France, they have taken over pockets of your countries. They're willing to use all forms of violence and rape to destroy, to get their way. And until you can say, and even Israel's not good at this, what they're doing now is a joke. They're bombing. You don't have to bomb them. You have to nuke them. Or if you don't like nukes, you can carpet bomb them. There shouldn't be a mouse. When America finally said we have to destroy Germany, and one night, I think in Dresden, they killed 400,000 people. They carpet bombed it. They wiped it out. These people may not live. Not only may they not live, you're doing them a favor by killing them because they're brainwashed. Just like you'd be doing a favor by killing a Nazi before he has a terrible deed of killing someone else because he's been brainwashed to kill. You're doing a favor. We now know places like the Gaza, the West Bank, are at least 90% radical. You have to wipe them all out. And in your countries, you have to find out who's radical, and you have to ship them out. If you can't kill them, ship them out, because they're gonna kill you. And you can wait and let the cancer grow, but it's gonna kill you. And in conclusion, what I want to say is that ultimately, I'm a believer, I'm a spiritual person, and I believe that this is just showing the world, as the prophecy of Daniel said, we will see in the end who is good and who is evil. And unfortunately, the people that you thought were evil, the right that believes in the Bible and God and common sense, people that you have mocked, they were right. They are right. They see good and evil. And you've been burying your head in the sands. And you have two choices now. This is, as they say, a come to God moment. You can come to God, you can recognize your mistake, or you can continue in your foolishness. And make no mistake about it. Obama wrote a letter to Iran. He is a Muslim spy, part of the Muslim Brotherhood, as the Egyptian newspapers reported, and they put people in government. And he wrote a letter to Iran, and much of the Democratic Party is just following his policy, saying, we will not bomb you. In other words, I'm going to pretend to be with Israel. I'm going to pretend to be against you, but really, I'm helping you. And that's exactly what he did. He put his money where his mouth is. He gave them billions of dollars. He created that radical Islam should take over Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm not going to go into too much, need not tell you radical Islam throughout the secular Gaddafi, who was no great friend of the West. Radical Islam got involved in Yemen and certainly empowered Lebanon, never mind, empowered radical Islam in Iraq, ISIS, and we're not going to continue. The bottom line is that we have a moment in time and in history, which is exactly as Prime Minister Netanyahu said at the UN the other week. You are facing life and death. And if you wake up today, you will live tomorrow. And if you continue and you don't change today, you will die tomorrow, unfortunately. That's the truth.